get 1. Now our other one is not updating, so we want them to both have the same value. Welcome back to Arcade. I am Super Tommy, and in this video we're going to continue where we left off in the last one, where we got the dice value from the server. And I'm using a new mic here, so hopefully this one is going to be more consistently better and less garbled. I know some of you have complained about the AirPods sound quality, so hopefully this one's better. And so what we're going to do now, we've got the dice value from the server in the last video, and in this one we're going to make sure that we're synced to all the connected clients. So actually right here, we've got another connected one here. Let me make myself a little bit smaller, go over here. So if we just refresh these, so if I press space here, we're gonna do a dice thing and we get 6. That's just coincidence. Do it again. Get 1. Now our other one is not updating, so we want them to both have the same value when one player requests a value from the server and then lets everyone know what the value is and show that value. Here, back to VS Code here. So let's go to game. Now I've added some more to-dos here to show what we're going to be doing. So one thing we do want to do is of course show the starting dice value based on what the Colyseus server tells us. That's not related to making sure all the clients are connected or showing the right value. So we'll do that at the end of this video. But this is the important one. We want to make sure that every connected player starts in a state where they're waiting or listening for a dice value, a change in that, which we did here in the last video. We looked for a change in room state, and we looked for the field last dice value change. And when that does happen, then we do this dice finish, roll finish state, where we wait a little bit and then show you the actual resulting value. And so that's what we're going to do right now. So this is not, we're not going to do the final version of this. We're going to basically evolve this because we want to show you how we do this without having to implement which player's turn it is yet, just to keep things simpler and build on what we already have. So how this is going to work is every player, when they start, is going to start in a state where they're waiting for a dice value. So they're waiting for a dice roll, basically. Everyone assumes someone else is going to roll the dice, and they're going to wait for that value. And then we have this key up space, so when any one player hits space, it just assumes they're that player's turn, and then it'll request the value from the server like we did in the last video, do other things, send down that value, and then we'll all update. So let's just start. So we have our state machine. We need a new state, and that state is going to be, let's see here, dot add state. Let's call this, let's see, wait for dice, wait for dice roll. We'll just call it that. And let's see, so we have an on enter. We'll do handle wait for dice roll. Let's take that, and we're going to put it here, private. Alright, so everyone's going to start there. So we're going to go, let's start an idle in init, and then after we create, let's do it here, let's do it here. This dot state machine dot set state, wait for dice roll. Now you can already see we should probably make these enums or const strings somehow. I don't have to keep typing this out. We'll do that when we do some code cleanup, as well as move some of the state machine logic into a separate class so we don't clutter this game scene. Alright, so we're going to start at the wait for dice roll state once we launch the game. Let's save that. So once we do that, we come in here. What we want to do when we come in here is actually the same thing that we're doing in the dice roll state, except we're not going to send a message to the server because we're not rolling a dice, we're just waiting for a dice roll value, which is this over here, right? So let's just go up here. So this .room.state, and we want to listen for onChange. And let's see, changes. Okay. Okay, changes. And then we'd want to do changes. We just do the same thing we have down here. Change.field. If it's not equal to last dice value, if we are going to return, do nothing if it's not the last dice value. Then if it is, you could actually reuse these dice roll finish, right? Let's see, dice roll finish set. Yeah, so we're going to just take this. Actually, this whole thing. It's basically the same. We will clean this up later. But here's the idea. Everyone starts and wait for dice roll, and all they're doing is waiting for the last dice value from the Colyseus state, our room state, the iLudo game state, to have a change on the last dice value, which happens in the Colyseus server side. I believe, let's go to Ludo game. Right here. So when one client requests a dice roll, we generate one, set it in here, and then Colyseus will automatically send it to all connected clients. Let's go here. Okay, so let's see. This is wait for dice roll. Great, which is going to look the same here. Okay, right. Dice roll finish. Save. So now let's just see what we got. Why did it? Let's see. Inspect. Wait for dice roll. Wait for dice roll change. Yes. Let's do this. So we're going to move this. So we're going to get the initial state first. After we got an initial state, then we're going to do wait for dice roll, which we could also put this into a state as well. Okay. Everyone 6. Great, let's close this. Now let's press space here. 1. There we go. Now it's synced. We go over here, press space, generate a value. This didn't, yes. Okay. So what happened here is that we don't leave the wait for dice roll after we do dice roll finish. So we do set state dice roll finish, do this, we set it. What we're going to want to do here, this state machine set state, we're going to want to go back to wait for dice roll. So just for now, we're just going to be constantly rolling dice and seeing the value. Space. Go here, space. All right, so now our dices are synced. So when whoever's turn it is, which we'll do later, rolls the dice, we're going to get that dice value everywhere. Now, it would be nice if we could see some sort of animation as well. This looks like it got stuck. Now try this bug. Let's just test it a few more times. Oh, just rolling the dice multiple times gets you stuck. Let's see. Let's just think this through. So we start off at wait for dice roll, which is great. Then we change to dice roll. It does the thing. Sends the server a message. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. It does its animation. Handle dice roll update. Handle dice roll enter. Alright, so handle dice roll. So we're in the dice roll. Let's see. Dice roll. Yeah, at the state there, we set it on key down. So that's the only time we set it on key down. Let me just try this again. Let's see. Space. Get a value. Space. get a value, space, get a value. Oh, we've got one of these potential race case bugs. Okay, well it happens semi-consistently. Let's make sure, nope, the Colyseus server is good. Let's see, so we have this going, let's just think. So we enter handle dice, so enter dice roll state. We are now stuck in this update because finish doesn't get called. So let's see, let's use some breakpoints. Debugging is a key part of writing software. So let's see, game TS. And so let's put a breakpoint in, not wait for dice roll, because this is the one who's performing the dice roll. We want to be here. All right. Now I bet you putting that breakpoint there is actually going to make it not show up. But we'll see. Simply because sometimes the breakpoint obscures what otherwise would have been a race condition. So you see this is first changing before it does here. There it goes. So it never goes into on change. So let's see. So we do handle dice enter. So let's see, what state are we in? State machine, change from wait for dice roll to dice roll. So we're in the dice roll state, but we don't do this. Fascinating. Let's actually just do a console.log handle dice roll enter. So space, space, space. So it does do handle dice roll enter, but the on change never gets called. Ah, actually. Yes. Let's change this a little bit here. It's probably not great to have this multiple times anyway. Okay. So let's do some cooking right now. Well, this is probably better done anyway. Okay. So we're gonna do this. And what we're going to do instead here is listen to this on change one time and then basically tell other people when changes happen. So let's go here. We're gonna import, well actually we're importing phaser, so let's just do a event emitter from phaser. So let's call this events. Oh no, the game has an events already. We could hook into that. Let's just use our own events up here. We'll clean this up further later. Dot events, dot event emitter. So we're going to use an event emitter. We just call this server events. I don't know, it's not a great name, but we'll leave it for now. And what we're going to do here is server events dot emit, and let's just call this on change. And we're going to pass through those changes, like that, and change to be data change any. And then we're going to go here, handle dice roll server events dot once. No, it's not exactly once. On change, and we're going to expect changes. We're going to do that, and these changes are going to be data change. Yes. Maybe. Let's check. Data change any array. So what is it not like? Data change is not generic. Sure it is. Make sure it's the same data change. Data change any. Let's look at these types. Yep. I guess I can't actually import it like this. Alright, because we're doing star as. Hold on, let's see what's happening here. Changes, data changes. Let's go here. Data change array. Oh, okay, maybe it is indeed not generic. Alright, well that works. Okay, Colyseus the data change, great. Now we're gonna go here. And then once we have a thing here, why does it not exist on type data change? Path. Let's see. So we get data change of any. Right. Changes. Data change. Field. Schema. So import Colyseus. Just schema. Add Colyseus schema. Okay. Data change. Let's use that one instead. That's the one we're actually expecting. Back down here. And it defaults to any. Yep. Alright, so now we have the field type in there. So you see, if sometimes you pick the wrong type or whatever it might be when using TypeScript, you just got to sort of go through the typing files and see what's happening and just try to figure out what's going on. And in this case, we just simply used this command click. We went to the Colyseus on change command click there. We see using this data change command click. And that is actually using this data change interface opposed to whatever we were importing before, which is probably not the same data change that we intended to use. We did Colyseus.data change, so that's probably something else. And so now we have the right data change interface, so this, we get rid of those errors from TypeScript. Okay, so all good. So the plan here is we are emitting one event to everyone who's listening when the on change event comes down from the Colyseus schema, our Ludo game state here. Instead of having each individual listener listen to it and then like unsubscribe by saying it's undefined. So we need to unsubscribe now. So we have this. In order to unsubscribe, let's put this into function here. Const handle on change. Okay. And now we're going to do handle on change. And then instead of doing this, we're going to do server events dot off on change. And we're going to pass in this same handle on change function that we created here so that it will remove it once it happens one time. Good. So now here, let's do the same thing. And well, for now, let's just copy this because it's identical. Just make sure. Right, handle change changes. This looks like an error actually. I'm surprised this works. Oh, I guess it's not an error. I think this was meant to be like this. Okay, so let's see. Just double check here. Changes, change for each, change field. Now we want to do the off delayed call. Great. So that's the same. Now server events dot on Same on change, right? All these string event names that we're writing really should make them enum so that we don't have typo issues and then wonder what the hell's going on because things don't work because we bad at typing. Comma. See, very bad at typing. All right, now let's see if we still get this bug. Looks good. Let me do it 10 times. And that was 5. Maybe this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, we still do have this bug on 10. Handle, dice roll, enter. Okay. Does this, does on. Is there some reason where the dice value is not changing? New game. So let's see. .log value. Alright, Colyseus restarted. Let's everyone refresh. Alright. 2. No, actually it just didn't happen here. I've got logs for the Colyseus server on a separate monitor here. Alright, let me hit this again. 4. Yep, so 4, 3, 1, 4, 5, 4, 1. So I guess sometimes 2. It doesn't 3. Doesn't generate a value. 3. Oh, there goes 3. So it did generate a value. It set last dice, and then what happened is it didn't come back out here. Down here. So remit changes on change. So let me just make sure I'm not. That looks good. Just make sure I'm not still calling that anywhere. Search. One place, good. Okay, so that's not the issue. New changes. Refresh. Let's refresh one time. Alright, space. Let's see. Alright, so there it is. So let's see what it did. New changes, dice roll, so it did get new changes? No, handle, dice roll, enter. So it should do new changes after it does handle, dice roll, enter, and it is not doing that. So what might the issue be? It should always do, let's do this. There's no way this is even coming back locally too fast. I guess it's always possible. So let's set our listeners and then send out our event. Alright, everyone refresh. Actually, they've already refreshed. Just manually do it for sure. Okay. So it does handle dice roll enter. Then it sends it up. It should have been a 5. Send message server with dice roll action. And then it should come out here on changes. Some change should have happened. And it didn't. Let's see. What else can we do to see what's going on? Definitely didn't come here. Let's see. This shouldn't be auto removing itself. No, this is all good. Let's just see. Space. Space. Okay. So that function is still there. basically not getting hit. Let's try something here on the Colyseus server here. Let's go with the set timeout. That here. There may be a better set timeout. We're just doing this as a test here. In Colyseus, that's more in line, although it may not matter. But nonetheless, let's just say we're going to wait half a second. Colyseus server restarted. So we want to reconnect. Okay. So that's not the issue. Okay, let's set that back. Want that. Start that. Connect. Let's just think it through. So what's happening is we're not getting the on change call, right? Let's go here. Is it possible I'm just hitting a space too frequently? That does seem to break it. Now you know what? Let's see. Am I hitting space before the value comes back? I can't imagine that's what's happening. This dot state machine dot is current state dice roll. Okay, is the state machine not blocking if it's the same state machine? Well, we do. If it's the same state, we don't change. That shouldn't matter. Alright, that should be fine. So if we're already in dice roll state, that's not going to do anything. We can hit enter as much as we want. Just make sure hitting space quickly is the problem here. Not really. Okay, we'll just audit to make sure that our state changes are happening as we intend. I'll just go to console. Alright, so we're going from idle state to wait for dice roll. That's what we expect. Wait for dice roll to dice roll because we hit space here. Handle dice roll is logged here. So we enter, handle dice roll, enter, and then we send out the dice roll client message. We're logging out the on change, so that's still there. We get new changes, then we go from dice roll to dice roll finish. Let's look at dice roll finish, which then sets us back to wait for dice roll. Good. That seems to make sense, right? Come back to our space. Okay. Wait for dice roll, changing wait for dice roll to dice roll changes. So it just seems like for whatever reason, Colyseus server did produce a 6 here, so that should read the value. And let's see, this did get a 6, but we didn't get a 6. Let's see, 257. Okay, connections 2. We're still connected. Oh, interesting. This on change is not getting called. So what happens if we do this? Interesting. Alright, so we're going to fix it like this. Maybe there's an issue with the on change that I'm not familiar with. But what we can do is here, we're going to set that, but we can also just not really rely on that and instead do this that broadcast. We're going to broadcast server message. See if we actually made one dice roll result, because we did it in a earlier video, and we're going to send down, just call this value. Okay, so we're going to do broadcast. Great. Let's go back to game. And we're going to do handle dice roll enter. And we're going to do this room on message. So let's just use our server events. So this room on message. Now message is going to be, let's just say anything. And then we're going to get type and message. Type message. Okay, so let's do a switch here. Type. Case server message dot dice roll result. And then what we can do is let's do break. Server events dot emit. So I guess we could actually just emit it directly. Type. So this is going to be whatever the message is, and then the type of the message, and then the message. So this is well, we know it's going to be a string, right? Let's just double check. That's a number. So emit wants either a string or a symbol. So what should be best here? I do think it may be best. Just come here. Message events. And then this may be duplicating some things, but let's see how we feel. Dice roll result. It'll be easier for us to read if on the client we actually have some strings instead of numbers. So back here, switch on the top. We want to use, we don't have to, but we're using numbers when we're sending data back and forth between the server and the client, just because numbers are smaller than strings. And server message dot dice roll result. And what we're going to do is emit break. Emit. And now we're going to emit is message events dot. Is the right thing? No, not const. Message events dot dice roll result. Going to pass through that message. Going to come here, and instead of changes, what we're actually going to have here is value. Okay, we're going to call this, let's call this message. What we're getting is value number. So do you want to off that? Okay, dice roll finish. Now, of course, now I'm curious if actually dot state last dice value. Let's see if this actually gets updated, but on changes simply doesn't get called. And then message events dot double check here. Too many. Message events dot dice roll result. So let's just see what this does. So in our Ludo game here, we actually have this to fix. Okay. There's our Colyseus server is back. So this guy should still see a result. theoretically. It does. Okay, so it looks like that is working. Game, okay. We don't change. Let's now take this again. This is the same. We'll use it down here and then just see if we make this a bit more reliable. All right. 2. This is just a count. That should be a 1. Should be a 1. Should be a 6. Should be a 2. Should be a 4. Should be a 4. Should be a 4. Let's stop changing. Well, it should be a 4. 6. 5. 2. 2. All right, that seems like it's way more reliable. Using a broadcasted event instead of, hang on. What is this? Once with the list the last dice value handle on change. Oh, because there is the off. And wait for dice. So I start, and that's the off. Oh, actually, we don't even need it like this now because we know we only need one change. So technically, this is much better. So once, and we can now make a variable for this. Now we can do once because we know exactly the event we're getting, which is that one event. When we're doing on change, it could have been any properties on the state that changed. So that's good. That's just that we don't actually need this. It is being passed down, but it's relatively irrelevant. Okay. So this is actually probably working because we have this delay here. That this we may not have gotten that value back in time before the broadcast happened, or it really depends. And this 1 second delay is sort of ensuring that this value does get updated before we actually show it. So that's a happy coincidence here, which we can resolve that. But let's just change this. Now we have once. So what happens with the once is we're gonna listen for the event one time. When that fires, we automatically remove, so we can solve this issue where we see it multiple times. So twice is that okay? I think so, right? Because it's getting called in 2 different places. We do have the log in 2 different places. Okay, but it shouldn't do it like 12 times or whatever. Yep. So you see, if this value doesn't match, that's because, like I'm saying, you're getting the value that it was when this broadcast comes back, and then because we're waiting 1 second, the actual value comes back to us, and then we're showing it in dice roll finish. Which what we can do instead is, well, I think we can actually set it. I think we can do this. For example, just put this back. Value is number. Message.value. All right, let's just see. Okay. 1, 3, 2, 3. So we're basically just in 6. So we're just setting this value on the last dice value property of our little game state locally on the client, so we know what to expect, and then later Colyseus will come back and update it with what the server says it is, and then we just show it. So there we go. The changes here is we used broadcast messages to more reliably receive the dice roll result. It just seemed like this changes wasn't giving us the result back reliably. The callback wasn't happening reliably, which is interesting. So that's working, and we can just delete these logs here. And so now what we have is the dice value synced between both connected clients. I'll make sure. All right, so we roll the dice here. We're going to get a 2. That gets a 2. Roll the dice here. We get a 3. Everyone gets updated with a 3. What we would like is to have an animation here, of course. Right. But we'll save that for the next video, where we also do, I think we got some code cleanup, but let's just go back to our to-dos here. Yep, it's spaced though, so that looks good. And we're gonna go into basically setting up when players join and then adding them versus having them all four here at once. As you can see, we have 4 players, but don't have the sense of players just yet. We'll do that in the next video. Now, if you like what you saw in this video, do hit like and hit subscribe for more videos on making real-time multiplayer games with Colyseus and Phaser 3.